Hey, welcome back. We got Danny, CEO of CyberLixer, back with us tonight. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, Army. Good to be seeing you again. It's April 1st, so it's been like a I've been in a good mood today because I was on social media and I saw lots of like people just doing silly pranks because it's April Fools. So it, I've just been like thinking about those videos and still making me giggle. Um, like our work can be pretty stressful at times.
Hmm.
Like helping people, protecting the world and stuff like that, fighting for what's right and
Yeah,
just like moments that can make us smile makes a difference.
absolutely. Happy April Fool's Day to everyone out there that is
That's
playing a
great.
healthy and safe prank on the people around them. And Danny, what you shared resonates and translates to me because I love when people use the internet for good, right? Like when we rally around someone in times of need, when we are creating skits and telling jokes that really just make us bubble up inside, or we see inspirational speeches from our favorite sports coach, right? It's so many different things that the internet can be used for in a light way, but have deep, meaningful impact. So shout out to you for highlighting that, and everyone out there around the world. If you're tuning in, thank you again. I am Army Armstead, the project director of Crypto Harlem, and I'm joined. No introduction is needed, but we are going to reintroduce our guest. Danny is a cybersecurity and privacy professional from Vietnam, and she is dedicated to making digital security and more human centered, accessible, and empowering. She believes that cybersecurity and privacy should serve people and not just corporations and systems. And she is the founder of CyberLixer. So we met a couple of weeks ago, and due to technical difficulties, we didn't get to the full conversation. But really want to thank you for taking the time to build to connect with us. And the last time we talked about the basics of digital safety, right? Since then, what's what's a threat or a trend that people should be paying more attention to now?
Right. We are at a very vulnerable time right now, and many bad hackers tend to take advantage of this opportunity to trick people into sending them money or giving out sensitive information away. Throughout my work, I've seen whenever there's something that's like disruptive in the world, it's like maybe a hurricane, like some sort of natural disasters,
Yep.
the wars, political uncertainties, and stuff like that. The economy is like really bad right now. So all of these factors are good for hackers because they can take opportunities and because you're more vulnerable and it's easier for you to make mistakes, right? Like you're feeling stressed, you're desperate, like a lot of people are looking for jobs now, and there's this like psychological pressure um, that's on you, and it's easier for you to make mistakes, it's easier for you to fall into like the traps that they set.
Hmm.
So that's something that really concerned me. Like we have a war, we have the bad economy, we have the political situation is like it's really messy right now. And I've seen scammers, I've seen bad hackers doing things like sending out like or pretending to be a government official and sending out like a fake subpoena um,
Mm,
companies to these nonprofits. And like if you don't know and you think they're real law enforcement or something, like you would just like send them documents that are very sensitive to you,
yeah,
and those documents will be used to like to force you to give them money, that sort of thing.
yeah.
So yeah, that's very concerning. And a lot of a lot of people think of cybersecurity as a technical issue, and it's
Hmm.
on the cybersecurity person to like put in the technical configurations to protect the team. But when you're under psychological pressure, like it's
Yeah.
can do very little with that. Like if you see a phishing message and you just don't you're just too tired to realize it's a phishing message,
Yeah.
then you just fall for it. So that is the trend. Um, yeah, and during natural disasters as well, I see scammers pretending to be like some they would send emails pretending to be like sort of like support group, right? Like from the Red Cross or something like that. And hey,
Yeah.
we have like all these like food and water and stuff like that, and we want to send you these, but there's a problem, and we just need you to maybe like send us a little bit of money so we can
Yep.
like go through or something like that. So
Yep.
yeah, it's very concerning, but that's the trend.
And Danny, thank you for sharing that, right? Because I think first we need to be honest about where we are in the world, right? Like it is a tough time. It is a tough time for people. And from my perspective, it's a time where you use a few words that I want to bring to light. Like it's a time where vulnerable people are suffering a lot, right? The vulnerable populations and communities, but the vulnerable individuals within those communities, the ones that are not as tech savvy, the ones that are more mature or seasoned or younger, they are really at risk now more than ever while we're in survival mode. I think the world has gone from like, all right, COVID, was a very different energy, but a different type of survival. So like people trying to get their footing, and boom, here we are now. And I was speaking to some leaders last week at a convening, and the word disruption came up. You mentioned disruption, and the word disruption came up. And on one side, we're seeing our lives disrupted, right? We're seeing food price. Like I literally have a Costco receipt right here, and the three digits that I paid for this amount of food is ridiculous. Like it's literally right here because I didn't uh, ex-
Yeah.
log it yet because I'm looking at it in disgust. But the reality is, like, we're in this world where our nervous system is being disruptive because we're being led by people that don't see humans nor value people, or the contributions that humans made to have this country be what this country is, right? And I think on the other side of that, this is a time now more than ever for Cyber Elixir, for Crypto Harlem to step in and disrupt. And disruption, dismantling looks like different things. It looks like this conversation. It looks like giving people the resources and tools and a language to be able to protect themselves at time. Shout out to the founder of Crypto Harlem, Matt Mitchell. Him and I, we did a video with Proton, right, about data leaks, and I encourage everyone to please go on YouTube and check that out. But there's practical ways for us to protect ourselves from things like phishing. So when we talk about real life scenarios, we're talking about vulnerable community members. If someone has their account hacked, what should they do immediately? Like, what are like the first two or three steps that people can take to get back a bit of their safety?
Right. So there are basically two scenarios for this. And within those two scenarios, there are like two scenarios within those two scenarios. Well, I'll start with, because my work is helping individuals and also helping organizations. So there's the scenario when you're an individual, and there's a scenario when you're being hacked. Your maybe your work account is hacked, right? So let's start with an individual first.
Hmm.
So when being an individual, there are two scenarios. One is your account, when it's hacked, you can still log in. So your password has not been changed. And this is when you need to try to log in immediately, get in there and change your password right away. And just by doing that, they will be locked out. Um, so that is when you can still log in, which is like pretty rare, because when you're hacked, like the first thing they'll do is they will try to lock you out.
Yep.
They will try to change your recovery emails, recovery phone number, And so you can't do recovery the normal way anymore. You can't put in your password, two-factor authentication, backup codes, like none of them will work. So what you do is a lot of the a lot of these companies that you have accounts with now, they have like a recovery page, which is like different from the page that you log in. But basically, you just need to go search for, like recovery page for maybe a Google account or Instagram.
Hmm.
And within that recovery page, you will have like recovery questions, like your personal questions that they ask you when you sign in, right?
Yep.
Like, where is your first home, something like that. And when you fill these out, by the way, when you fill out your recovery questions at the beginning, make sure that you lie. I don't encourage lying most of the time, but if someone knows the answer to your recovery questions, they can do the same thing to like take over your account, right? If they know where your first home is, and that is on, I don't know, you posted about it sometime on social media a while ago, then they can just like grab that and just put in the answer for that recovery question. So always like with your recovery question, and then just like put a note in your password manager. Maybe we should talk about password manager later because that's like
Yes,
thing
that's
too.
up here.
But when you lie, or like you can't just memorize your lies very well, so just like you can put a note in your password manager about that. So again, in the recovery page, there will be recovery questions. So you can use those answers, which only you know, not the hackers,
Hmm.
right? And I highly encourage you to use the same laptop that you've been signing in your account with, and the same browser that you've been signing in your account with, because these companies lock everything.
Yeah.
And that is usually a bad thing, but in this case, it's a good thing because they recognize that you own the laptop. The hacker doesn't own the laptop. So they will prioritize your machine over their machine,
Yep.
first thing. The second thing is they will ask for your old password. So basically, like what you remember. And those things will be enough for your account to be recovered.
Hmm.
But like try to do those things like as soon as possible because a lot of damage can be done
Yeah.
just by having your account. Um, Also, this is a tip too. If you haven't done this already, I highly encourage you to go to, this is for Google accounts, by the way,
Hmm.
myactivity.google.com, because as a hacker, that's one of the first places that I will go to if I ever, if hypothetically, like, right, if just like in like the shoes of a bad hacker, I would go into that page because it basically locks all of your activities, not just for Gmail, but also Google Maps, Google Photos, and
Wow.
YouTube, like everything, like all of your data is in myactivity.google.com. And you can stop them from tracking you. You can stop Google from tracking you just by disabling it. Um, so there you go. You don't want them to know your locations, right?
Yep.
If you ever get hacked, you don't want them to have access to your photos and stuff like that. So yeah, just
No, that's
tip.
great.
hmm Um, so yeah, and once you answer those questions, you will be able to get back your account. And it's important that you warn other people about it as well. Like if you have like close family members, um,
Hmm.
want to let them know that you have been hacked. And if the hacker reached out to them while you're being locked out, then they should not interact with their message, like those messages, because as a cybersecurity professional who've had dealt with a lot of incidents, this is the most serious. This could become the most serious breach because you're pretending to be like that person can be pretending to be army, and they sent out
Yeah.
like a bunch of emails and messages just like impersonating you. And because
Yeah.
I trust you, right? I see your email and I'd be like, oh, this is just army, and he's asking for money.
Yeah.
Um, and he's needing my help. So I just send him some. So that's another step as well. Like warn
Yeah.
your close ones right away. Yeah. So that's the scenario for individuals. Um, for if you're part of a team and your work account is hacked, like your work Gmail account or something like
Hmm.
that, I'm usually like the admin, like the cybersecurity admin for a lot of these organizations.
Yep.
And what I always tell them is, don't try to gain access. Don't be embarrassed about telling me that you've been hacked,
Yep.
because what I can easily do is just one click reclaim your account, because that's my power as the IT admin. I
Yep.
have like a dashboard, and yeah, it's just one click for me. While you're like scrambling, you're like, hey, like how can I recover this account? It's really easy for the IT person to handle that. So
Awesome.
never ever feel embarrassed to notify your IT person, and do it as fast as possible.
Danny, thank you so much, because like I think that's a note, especially to a lot of nonprofit leaders who may not have an IT person. Like let's make sure that we invest in the infrastructure of keeping our communities and technology safe. One thing that you brought up that I think a lot of people get caught up on is passwords, right? A lot of us as human beings use the same one. So if I got two different accounts, my password is I love apples 123 versus I love apples 321, right? And I don't know if the average user uses a password manager. So what is the safest way to manage passwords without it becoming overwhelming to a vulnerable community member?
Yeah, I love password managers a lot, and the two that I usually recommend to people are One Password and Bitwarden. There are several password managers out there, like LastPass or some like Dashlane
Hmm.
and stuff like that. But they have been, well, I know more about LastPass because they I saw their names a lot of the time throughout my year as a cybersecurity expert, not in a good way, because they got breached several times and they tried
Mm,
to hide it from people, and they lost my
wow.
trust for that reason. One Password and Bitwarden have had no incident at all, and they've been like really great at like just protecting the people I've been helping. They have like good support system as well, so like you can easily reach out to them if you don't understand something. Their resource pages are also really great for like learning about like how to use it and stuff like that. They have like
Hmm.
videos, write up pages, and so on. And so I highly recommend One Password or Bitwarden. I have worked with non-technical people, like people who are like just not great with technology at all, and they're usually like older folks,
Yeah.
which I don't blame at all, because even I feel confused by these systems at time, and like I'm just like running behind on AI at times, and
Yep.
I feel a lot of empathy for them. So with those people, with non-technical folks, I highly recommend that someone who's more technical, um, like for organizations, that can be the IT person in a team, or within a family that can be like a younger family member, like
Yeah.
a teenager or something, who like just kind of knows a little bit more about like how to use technology, or like
Hmm.
their laptop and stuff like that. And when you pay for like a family plan or an organization plan, you can basically control everyone's like passwords and stuff like that. So if they don't really know how to use the like the password manager, you can just grab that. You can go into their account and get the password from the password manager that you all
Yep.
share, and just send it to them.
Yep.
And obviously, there's a degree of trust there, right? Like you need to trust your family member,
Mhm.
um, and that can be difficult for some people. I've like I have a social media account, and I've heard a lot of stories of people just like sharing elders, like they're living by themselves,
Yeah.
um, and or just families being broken apart, and it's just like hard for them to like know how to manage their accounts and stuff like that. Like, they're
Yep.
worried all the time. um yeah, I those cases are like the most difficult for me to support. like the best I can tell them usually is just reach out to me when something looks suspicious,
Yeah.
when something that you don't feel just like when something there's something that you feel right here for you. I'll support you anytime, and just do your best using, even if you're putting it in your notes right now.
Hmm.
Um, just do your best, and you can have a weak password, and you can reuse your password if you have multi-factor authentication on.
Yeah.
So that is like one of the biggest things that people need to do, like for all of their accounts. Um, because according to Microsoft report, and also like numerous reports have confirmed this as well, multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication can stop 99% of hacks that have been happening.
Powerful.
99%. So that is the biggest and the best cybersecurity practice that anyone can have.
Yep.
Uh, for those who don't know what multi-factor authentication is or two-factor authentication is, it's basically like a code that's like sent to your device, like
Hmm.
through, could be through a text message, could be through your authenticator app, um, and yeah, once you set that up, and you might, if even if your password is compromised, even if your password is reused and is out there, they still, like the bad person still needs the multi-factor
Yeah.
authentication to get into your account. So yeah, that's so remember to set up your
Yes.
multi-factor authentication for your accounts. And if you feel overwhelmed because you have a lot of accounts, like I probably have like hundreds,
Yeah.
using like a lot of different services, like shopping and stuff, like they want you to create accounts right
Yep.
now. Don't worry about those shopping accounts. Focus on three main areas, right? Your email, your main email, your social media account, and your financials, so your bank accounts. So just those three
Yep.
areas.
That's great. And I for the people in the back, please, it's your email, your social media account, and your finances, right? Like, they allow you to log in with two-way authentication and different things of
Mhm.
that nature. I saw a lot, and I think I saw the rise of it during COVID, of so many accounts getting hacked. Like one day I'm following Danny, next thing you know, she's asking for a cash app. Right. And it was like I remember seeing so many accounts getting taken, and now they're talking about Cash App and they made $10,000. I'm just like, what? Like, what is going on? But I really did see how that was impacting folks. People was losing so much business. People were losing connections to their community, which is very real. So people, I know it's an extra step, but these extra steps are the things that keep us safe. And I've even seen email. Two things that I've been seeing recently: the Easy Pass text message. I don't owe Easy Pass any money because y'all take it out of my account. Who's texting me? Right. So I've seen a lot of those come through lately. And I got an email from a funder saying that they giving us money. And Danny, I never spoke to this funder before. So what I did was email the funder, because first of all, the bottom of the email was blurry. Like always,
Oh,
like it's funny. I'm like, hey, did you send me this? Because I don't remember applying for a grant. They was like, no, don't answer that. But a funder, a foundation that gives millions of dollars, got hacked. And like I could have
no.
clicked on that, it could have like wiped out whatever was going on. So even as an organization, I'm seeing these things come through. If I check my spam folder, I got like spam emails from my team members, just like the hackers are using our email names to
Yeah.
try to get our attention. So I did notice that recently, like, oh my gosh, there's an uptick of making this seem even more authentic, right? So that your guard is down, and now they're like, hey, I had some trouble at home. Can you process an early payroll? And here we are. God forbid that happens to any leaders. But all right. So Danny, I know that you've done work around the world, and I had an opportunity. I think I mentioned last time I had an opportunity to travel to Portugal. for a global gathering. Here's a fun fact: my sister and I just did 23andMe, and we're 97% Nigerian and 1.7% Portuguese. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Who was driving the slave ship my family was on, but they made some stops, right? So shout
Oh,
out to my family. We went to Portugal this last September, but I realized this is a global problem. This is not this is not just America, and in fact, it might be hitting other places even harder. A lot of vulnerable communities that are still using internet cafes. I remember being in Czech Republic and Romania when I was 14, and we were using internet cafes. We had to go, and there was a thing called Meebo.com that allowed us to like chat, text back in the day. But at the same time, I don't know if we were seeing this level of security, right? So, are there any lessons that you could think of when you reflect on the communities that you've served globally, that the everyday people can apply to their digital lives, right? I know we spoke about passwords, we spoke about authentications, we're speaking about IT, but on a day to day, what is one thing that community members can do? In addition, please, I want to reiterate this too: myactivity.google.com. Please, everyone, go and check it out. Um, but before I get to that question, Danny, right? And I say that because I was at an advertising agency yesterday, and I heard them speak about collecting data in a good way, right? Like this is her job. I was there with this lady, like she's hosting this class on marketing, but their job is to collect the data. And Danny, when I tell you she confirmed everything you're saying, she literally confirmed that, yeah, we just build profiles on y'all. Like we take your data, we buy it, we sell it, we train whatever we doing with it, we take it, we build profiles on you, and that's how we know. Oh, Danny likes Popeye's chicken over Red Rooster, or you like the New York Knicks over the New York Mets, right? So that is a real thing that's happening. But what besides, is there anything addition to like my activity, the authentications and password management that we can add on top of that before we jump to, because I want to get into a little bit of a political stance when it comes to the AI and also identity. I was listening to your videos online, and I'm like, nah, you posted one that just struck a nerve, like a carousel of different pictures of you, and the AI classified you in very different buckets. And I'm looking at it like, oh my gosh, right? So I want to get there. I want to go there. But before we go there, what's one thing you give to vulnerable communities that they could just take in their everyday life?
um, I would say like wait, I'm hearing echoes of myself. Are you
Yes,
hearing
I hear
me?
that now.
Hello, hello.
There we go. I think we're good now.
Okay. Okay, good. Um, so just to reiterate your question, you mentioned like I've been working with vulnerable communities around the world, and what are some lessons that like everyday people can apply to their own lives?
Yeah.
Um, I would say like a lot. One of the themes that I focus on this week specifically is the importance of building a community. Um, because a lot of the time, everyday people, they are by, they tend to be by themselves. Like they have like cybersecurity, they might face cybersecurity and privacy issues. They might have questions about like technology. And most people like they don't know enough. They don't know much about this world at all because they don't have the expertise to. So a lot of people they might have communities, but they might be like that they just like hang out with instead of like more on a more serious like political level where they're like all helping or contributing to a social cause. So from my work working with vulnerable communities, it's important that you build your community around social causes as well, because these
Yeah.
people tend to be helping each other and they care about cybersecurity and privacy. So if you don't really know something, like the people within that community can help you. right? Like going back to the question of, like there's some people who are like not technical,
Yeah.
either because they're like older or because they just are not exposed to the tech world. When you're in these like like social cost driven community spaces, like LGBTQ, environmental causes, because they have been so politically involved. They've been like fighting and they've been like trying to protect themselves for such a long time. Like one
Hmm.
or two people in there will have the knowledge to help you, to protect
Yeah.
you. So it's important that you try to get yourself out there, like into these communities. And even though it doesn't feel that comfortable at times, like I'm an introvert, so I know how uncomfortable it is to just like be out there and network and just try to insert myself into like these communities. um, I would say like just try to, try to just do it. I actually have a guide for that because a lot of people message me saying, I want to do this. I feel like that will help me feel safer when I have a community that shares the same values, share the same cause, and that I feel like I can rely on. I have a guide for it in the Cyber Elixir page. Um, and I'll share the link with you later. I can't remember it on top of my head right now, but it's called something like a guide to building your political friends or something like that.
Mm.
So I highly encourage it. Basically, just like putting yourself out there, joining like political events, even reaching out to us. We'll be happy to just like connect with you and answer any questions you have. But yeah, being part of a community is like a one of the best things that you can do to protect yourself.
Yeah. Awesome. Community is very important, especially now more than ever, right? And I want to talk about protection in a sense of what is this? Can you break down like what does community as protection actually look like in the digital world, where most threats feel technical?
Right. Even when threats are technical, right? Like I mentioned, there are like like other aspects to it, like psychological aspects
Mm,
where you're like tired and you're drained and you're like, oh, I'm like, I can't read this right now.
yeah.
I want someone else to check this for me. And then if you have like someone, if you're part of a community, like you can easily just like forward to someone, right, and ask to help you verify it. So that's one thing, the psychological aspect. Another thing is if your community has a legal person, right? That's not technical, but if you got a legal request from law enforcement and there's a legal person in your community, they can cross check it to verify if it's looking real, right? Like one thing that I started seeing a lot is just like subpoena requests, like fake ones that started going around, and people don't know what a real one looks like.
Yep.
So again, community with various skill set is very important.
I love
Even
that.
yeah, even for me, like even when I'm the one who people go to for like technical support, I still ask my community members, especially like lawyers, if I go to uh, like a political event, like a protest or something like that, and I need to write my name down in case, or like their number down in case I get arrested, then they'd be helpful there. If there's a
Yep.
journalist in the team, I can like tell them, like feed them facts, and they can just like write a story from what I gave them, and that will be more impactful than me just like posting it on my social media page or like
Yep.
just talking to people about it, right?
Yep. Your network is truly your net worth, right? And like I think we should always have people around us that are the experts in the different fields, and also we shouldn't be the smartest ones in the room. And when I find the community, it's those moments like that, like when you are being prepared, being proactive against potential threats, right? So let's pivot there for a second. How do you think? How do we, right, practice for potential threats? Like, is that a thing? Is there a way for us to be prepared, to run simulations, to run through different scenarios? Maybe this context as an organization, right? Like, how do we prepare for the potential cyber attack, right? And create a world where we can simulate these potential outcomes and harms well in advance. What is your take on that? And I'm happy to rephrase that because like I was just pulling that.
Yeah, no problem at all. So one of the things, again, like when you're part of a community that is fighting for a social cause, there tends to be workshops that can help you like help you with incident preparedness, basically. So
Mm,
what happens if like police suddenly shows up at our meeting place? What happens when you're like traveling and your device, like is inspected? And
hmm
like there are like many different scenarios that will be that you will go through in these workshops. And again, like this is another benefit that is like security focused
Yeah.
when you're part of a community. And that is something that like I do workshops for people as well. um, what I usually have is creating an incident response plan. And what that is you have like all these questions, all these not questions, all these scenarios, that like the bad scenarios that something can happen, right? Like
Yeah.
if an account is hacked, if your device has malware, if I don't know, like there's an immigration event and I shows up, what are the processes that people
Yeah.
should go through? So you would have like a plan beforehand, and you would read it. Everyone in the team will have it. It should also be printed out. So in case you don't have access to the internet, right? Like you just have it with you. Or if you need to run and you can't just like grab your laptop or your phone, um, then that will be there for you. Um, and so everyone will have the incident response plan. And during these workshops, we do what's called a tabletop exercise. So we'll just in a hat. Usually, what happens is in a hat there'll be like different scenarios, and like we'll just like pick out a random scenario, and
hmm
we'll say, "Hey, this is the scenario." Like I shows up at our meeting, and asking for this person who is an undocumented immigrant, or maybe like
hmm
a legal person, even like, what is the next step? Like, who's the next person that should respond to ISIS request or
Yeah.
something like that? So, what's the next step? And we'll just go over it. And this process is not to like catch people for their mistakes, right? Like we don't go like, hey, you're not supposed to do that, and you're supposed to like remember that this is your next step. Well, this is just like a fire drill, basically,
Yep.
just so
Yep.
people remember like what to do next and who's the person who's responsible, right? For example, right, like if there's a scenario like that, then a person can say, oh, if ICE asks me, then I should ask my team leader. I should tell them to like wait outside. Let me go get my team leader. So that's my role. That's going to be my next step, and that will be ingrained in their brain. So if that actually happens,
Yeah.
like, they already know what to do. Just like you know what to like to go outside when there's a fire, basically.
Yeah, I love that. And maybe in Q2 we can collaborate on some workshops and bring this to some nonprofit leaders that are looking to strengthen their internal systems, and maybe also some community members that are doing work on the ground, right? Organizing and keeping people safe. It really is it's a very particular time where people are being targeted, right? Like we're going to the airport and it's being occupied. I wouldn't even say occupied. It is being full of people that's getting a paycheck that are harming people, and they're just standing there, literally standing there, and now they're checking your passport, right? So we gotta organize, we gotta disrupt, we gotta surround our community members. One last pivot before we just begin to wrap up. I want to
Time
talk about
flies with you.
yes, I
It's
want to
just been
talk about
really
the
fun.
that you did regarding the photos and the AI. Can you share more about what I saw, right? I don't even know how to put it in language, but can you share more about what I saw in terms of AI looking at your photos and basically creating some profile, down to sexual orientation, down to it was pretty in depth for a computer to judge you like that. Like, can you walk us through that?
Yeah, it's that video is going viral right now. If the audience hasn't seen it, just go to Instagram and Cyberlixer or Danacea.vo. It's a very recent video that I just posted yesterday, and it's going viral because a lot of people were shocked after seeing it. Basically, what I did was I went to this page called theyseeyourphotos.com, and what it does, it shows you how much Google AI can infer from just one photo that you upload on there. And you can do this as well, and you don't have to worry about like privacy issues, like, oh, are they going to store my photos? No, because your photos will be deleted right away, like right after. These people who created the website, they're privacy experts, so they don't store your data, and they have a privacy policy that states that as well. So if you want to try it out, do it. Feel free to do it. So I use this page, right? And it's using Google Vision API. And if you don't know what that is, basically it's a service that's offered and created by Google. And it basically helps businesses analyze images and pictures and try to gather as much data from those photos as much as possible. So there are like companies out there who are, like building cameras, building surveillance systems based on your social media, that sort of thing. They try to get as much out there. Like the more they can juice out from your photos, the more they can sell, basically. So a lot of people just assume that these machine learning systems, these AI systems, they just look at your photos and they identify things like, oh, this person is an Asian, and she's probably at this location, and there are like trees around her, and and she's like wearing these clothes, so she probably likes them. So those things, like objects, observations, basically. But
Yeah.
what you don't know is they go way further than that, right? I put in two different photos. So one is me in like a pretty normal looking like purple hoodie in Lake Tahoe and something like that. And the other one is me in like a gothy concert, like a rebellious woman.
Yeah.
And after sending in the first photo, what it gave me, I learned, is it told me like my potential income range, my age range. So like I was like in my early 20s or something like that. My interests, so like what I might be interested in. And I was surprised to see that me standing in front of Lake Tahoe without any devices and stuff like that, they were able to infer that I'm interested in technology. And I was like,
Mhm.
whoa. And they guessed my political affiliation, which is
Yep.
a like Democratic Party, my sexual orientation, like whether you're bisexual or you're heterosexual or not, which is a problem with the trans community or the LGBTQ community.
Yep.
If all the photos can be inferred, and if someone's out there like trying to target them, they also try to predict your this is your biases. So
Yes.
maybe if you're a black person, then you might be more prone to, I don't know, like certain biases. If you're a white person, you're more prone to certain biases. Um, and your self-control level, your self-esteem level, which is kind of crazy for me to think about. But this is what ad companies do. They specifically look for, or they trying to see where your vulnerabilities are.
Yeah.
Like if you're a low self-esteem person, like they try to feed you something that might increase your self-esteem, or they might try to take advantage of it and double down on making you even more vulnerable, right? Like if you
Yeah.
have low self-esteem and your interest is alcohol or doing drugs, and you have low self-control, they can totally use that to just like target those ads to you. And that's kind of what happened to my second image, right? So the first image, I got like all the, like a chill, kind of neutral sounding analysis about myself, but I was still surprised that it was like trying to get things like income range, political affiliations, interest biases, my self-esteem level, and the ads that can be targeted at me. In my second picture, where I was dressed in a more rebellious way, I was predicted to have low self-esteem, possibly bisexual, um, have low self-control, and probably
Mm,
using drugs, and tend to steal as well. And you see, like,
wow.
that's the problem. That's how predictive policing is working, and that's how like wrong people are getting sent to jail, because
Yep.
based on a video or based on an image, these AI systems just make predictions or judgments about you that doesn't reflect you at all. But because they kind of label you this way due to stereotypes about how you dress or the way you look or the way you walk, you are targeted. And these companies, they also send these analyses to law enforcement, right? Like Flock, that is what Flock is doing right now. And if you don't know
Yeah.
what Flock is, they are the surveillance, like their surveillance system that's like right outside, like all the cameras that you see outside, reading your car plates, and basically they're everywhere in public. If they notice that you're walking or you're acting in a suspicious way, and we don't know what that means, right? Like
Yeah.
you acting in a suspicious way, they just contact law enforcement without you knowing. And you just be followed by law enforcement because for some reason the AI system just predicts that you're potentially a criminal. And obviously, like
Wow.
this, this hurts marginalized communities the most, because a lot of this data set, they have like this stereotype, right? Like if you're dressed in black, if you're dressed, if you look a certain way, and most of the time it's marginalized communities that get sent to jail, um, then there's a high chance that you're a criminal, and
Yeah.
that's just really sad. That's why we're fighting these surveillance systems as well.
You know what's crazy? I just uploaded a photo 10 seconds ago.
Yeah.
They said they said you make between 30 and 50,000, you're insecure, and we should market Nike and grooming products to you because your posture. Oh my gosh, Danny. Like, and you hear these things, right? I don't think anyone would be really surprised, but to like see the thing work the way that you described it, the way that I witnessed on your page, and what it just spat back out as me is crazy. That's crazy. First of all, don't disrespect me. Talk about some $30,000 to $50,000. Don't ever disrespect me like that. I ain't. Come on, come on. We
Yeah.
have skills. We have lived experience and some good skills. But it also speaks to the bias, hidden within the technology that surveils us, that is built to do these things, right? And one thing I like about tech, and why I love the Matt Mitchells, the Dannys, that are inside the tech industry, is because now there's no more gatekeeping these skills. There's no more gatekeeping this access, these resources that will allow us to not only protect ourselves, but for some of us who are in that architectural mind frame, how do we build things? How do we actually code AI to not have the biases against our skin color, our facial features, and everything that comes with us, right? So when we're talking about the LGBTQ community, like this is like you mentioned, this is very harmful. These are tools that are not honoring people's choices, and not honoring their humanity, right? Like to be able to just look, and mind you, right, two things that happened was, one thing that happened was you had on two different outfits, so it's judging your creative expression, which I call getting
Mhm.
fly. It's judging your creative expression. Now go on and put on a cocktail dress and see what happens. Stand in a ballroom with a cocktail dress and let's see if they give you the same, analysis or breakdown. And that's really messed up. And I think historically, our ancestors just said, "Don't judge a book by its cover." Right? Like historically, that's what we've known. But with this exasperation of technology and AI, like I can imagine how many more people would be targeted now. Like the gentleman that was walking down the street, I believe he had a bag of chips, and like it was detected wrong. I read an article where it was detected where he had a bag of chips. They thought it was a gun. Police pulled up, right? So it's like, how do we not avoid it, but like build life while these things are happening, man? And I want to just reinstate for those who may have missed it, like theyseeyourphotos.com. Theyseeyourphotos.com. Like upload a picture and see what it says about you. And please don't take it personally. Please don't, anything of that nature. This is a computer saying, doing
Yeah.
what it was, built to do. Right. So how do you
Exactly.
encourage people in that sense, Danny?
Hmm. Yeah, and keep in mind too that this is just one photo. Most of these tech companies have like a lot of different data sets about you, like many different photos. And, a lot of people, these photos, of course, they've been taken in the past. So whatever happened in the past, and it might not reflect your current state, right? Like you might
Yeah.
have photos drinking, or maybe there was a period of time in your life where you were unhoused, you were having a difficult time, and you relied on
Yeah.
substances and stuff like that. Things are still being processed in these machines, and those things will be taken into these predictions, right?
Yeah.
And Army, I know you've worked with incarcerated people as well. Maybe there was a picture of them, like,
Yeah.
being incarcerated before, and they want to be better people, right? And you and I believe that people can change, that people can be better.
100.
And also like those times, like circumstances, right? And systemic racism and issues like that, social issues that cause people to be desperate and um, make mistakes in the past. But again, like these systems are judging you based on what you've done, based on how
Yeah.
you used to look, and all these data sets, it's just toxic. And it's trying to predict what the person that you're going to be in the future, the actions that you're going to take in the future, and that is just harmful.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, we serve communities that's in recovery, that's in
Mhm.
healing,
Yeah.
um, who already have uh, narratives and stigmas stacked up against them, and now
Yeah.
they got to fight through technology. Now they got to
Hmm.
fight through like this Trojan horse that seems to not be going anywhere, right? And that's why I'm an advocate. Just like, how do we reclaim our power? How do we build technology that gives agency and gives people power? How do we create community that share resources that give people back their agency and power today? I think there are three stages of like what I'm seeing in this AI era, right? Of like, I'm scared versus this isn't going anywhere, so let's get used to it. And then the last one is like, oh shit, this is amazing. We can build something. And I'm tired of our communities just being stuck on one and two, right? Like this third tier where the capitalism is happening, right? How do we get connected to that so that there's technology that actually honors the differences that we bring forth to the world? I was just telling another group, was like, yo, one of my favorite experiences on being on earth is the fact that I'm a human being with free will, and
Mm.
free will to now be mature enough to make better choices, but the free will to wear my hair like this versus Danny wearing her hair down. That's amazing. And if like me having braids puts me in this stereotypical box for the computer or some other stranger who doesn't like humans, that's totally on them, right? The way we carry ourselves, the way that we show up in these rooms, our character, our integrity will always speak louder than our past and our trauma. So for the people that have experienced those blockers, who are fighting against technology, fighting against mugshots, fighting against bad pictures on the internet because you were once a younger human being making younger human being decisions, but now you're actively in that healing and you're growing and maturing. Like, don't be discouraged. Like, reach out to Cyber Elixir, reach out to Crypto Harlem. We don't need to allow technology to control and dictate our lives in the way that it has. I think the disruption is this. The
Absolutely,
disruption is
Army.
every gem that Danny just dropped. This, like, even down to the websites to check out some of these tools, right? But the education, the access, the skill set of digital privacy, cybersecurity, I think it's one that we will continue to see grow for people that look like us, Danny.
Yeah, and you might not see it, but I'm seeing and I'm being involved and I'm engaging in lots of different projects of technologies being built to fight back. Like you're seeing lots of end-to-end and encrypted apps
Hmm.
happening. Like before we just had we most people just know of text messages or WhatsApp or
Yeah.
Instagram messages and stuff like that. Now we have Signal, which is like end-to-end
Hmm.
encrypted. So we have full control over our data, which is amazing. And we have Proton, which provides like everything from emails to Drive to calendar. Again, like all of our data is
Yep.
like we control it. And social media, like we have there's the Instagram and Facebook and the very mainstream ones, which people are really just like displeased of because of how much data is gathering. But now we're having like people just like building alternatives that really limit tracking and limit censorship, like Upscrolled and Substack as well, which is like
Yep.
something that I've been using, and you have more control of your data that way. Um, so there are lots of people out there like fighting hard, fighting the good work, not just building technology, but also in policies, and also like in social causes as well. And every bit helps. So just stay positive because I'm seeing great things happening. Like I'm
Yeah.
not pessimistic at all. I think that there's a we are moving towards like a more private, more secure future.
Yeah. 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 That's the future I want to be a part of. That's the
Hmm.
future I want my son to be a part of, my family to be a part of. And again, let's make some noise for Danny, everybody. Let's make some noise for Danny. Go.
That's for
You know, we got the
Army.
sound effects. We got Drake in the back with the sound effects. We appreciate you, team. Oh man, I feel encouraged. I feel refreshed. And again, thank you for running it back because again, these AI is like changing and forming every day, right? Technology is advancing every day, and we want to be relevant and we want to be culturally relevant. Especially here at Crypto Harlem, we're going to show up. We're on the front lines. We're behind the scenes. We're all things, and that is not because it's just us. It's because of Cyberlixa. It's because of all of the other hacktivists, what we like to call them,
Hmm.
that are around us that are moving the needle forward. So again, Danny, thank you for the opportunity for you to show up every single day in this world and make sure people are safer, people are getting what they need to take back their autonomy and their power in a world that says their value they don't have any value as a human being. Like, I believe, like, on the other side of this chaos, even with the government, will be a world that is better. Like, our ancestors survived some of the worst times ever. And like, look at the world they created for us. Like, we can have this conversation because both of our families did the work, right? They
Hmm.
did the work to build this nation. They did the work to make sure that you and I had access to what we needed to be able to show up right now. So, Danny, I appreciate you. Thank you so much once again for coming. We're going to follow up with you. We would love to host a workshop. We're doing in-person convenings. They've been happening at We Work Harlem. So we'll try to get you up. We'll try to get you up on the stage with us,
Oh,
hosting one of these workshops, because I think what you're bringing to the community through Cyber Elixir is very important to us, and however we can continue to collab to uplift that message, uplift that work, that's what we're here for.
sounds great. It'd be an honor for me to do it with you, Army. Thank you for your inspiration and doing this important work, helping marginalized communities. I love this collaboration, man, and just talking to you, appreciate
Yeah,
you
that's
so
good
much.
energy. That's kindred. That's that synergy, that community that we was talking about, y'all. We gotta lean in, love on each other. So thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you, and we're back next week. So make sure that you guys tune in. We have another special guest that we're bringing to the stage, and it's gonna be amazing. So make sure that you're here 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Crypto Harlem signing out. Thank you guys.
Have a good night.
Good night. Are we all still here? Hello.